Hi everybody, this is Kristie Williams, and today I have a PowerPoint presentation for you. It's called Identifying Wigs and What to Do with Them. Okay, so what is a wig? A wig is a wildly important goal. It's great for organizations to pick out what they need to be successful. Now, oftentimes an organization will have a meeting and they'll say, okay, this is what our end result of the quarter is or of the year is. This is what we want to see us do. So I want to implement 7 different things, and I want them to start now, and they're going to help us achieve the goal at the end of the year. So staff leaves the meeting and they know they have these goals that they're going to work on achieving, and they kind of get lost in the shuffle over time because you have too many things to think about. So what's important about a wildly important goal, a WIG, is to identify maybe 1 or 2 of your main goals. They're going to have the biggest impact at the end of the year and work on implementing those. I think at the beginning, maybe 1 is best. Focus on that 1 goal and see the results, and then maybe implement another 1 or 2 after that. So like I said before, your WIG is essential to the organization's mission. It can come right out of that mission statement of what your organization has implemented and work towards that mission. So how can we achieve WIGs? How can we achieve our wildly important goals? So like I said in the previous slide, small steps. Let's implement 1 main goal that is measurable, that we can see the results, and do it maybe in a short time frame to begin so that employees can see their progress right off the bat, whether it's positive or negative. They can see whether they're actually working toward that result. It's not overwhelming, but it's a very important goal, and you can track your progress. So when we're working on identifying our wildly important goals, we need to have what are called lead measures. Our lead measures are those things that we implement for our goals that are trackable and that you can see while you're working towards your goal. So those lead measures are the steps you're going to take to achieve your goal, whether it's selling 10 sets of products each day. That's your increased goal. I can measure that. I can see whether I'm making that progress each week. Your lead measures, you also want to decide how much time you're going to spend on them so you don't kind of get lost in the shuffle and get stuck on trying to just work on that 1 little step. Decide how you're going to implement these goals. And like I said, you're going to track these goals throughout so you as a team or individually can see your progress. Now with lead measures, you also have an end result, which are your lag measures. So your lead leads to your lag. Lag measures are that end result that I talked about before, like your 25% profit increase over the quarter or the year. Those are the things you can see at the end. They're measurable. Whether you have positive, negative, or no progress, up or down, you can measure it, you can see it. It's important that you're able to see the progress you've made on your goals. If it's not visual, if employees can't see it, it can tend to feel like you're doing all this extra work for nothing. So make sure that you're able to see your progress, chart it out, do graphs, and send emails, but make it visual, make it accessible to everybody. And then we have, I wanted to give a few examples. I'll start with 2 examples in this PowerPoint of my own professional goals. So my own WIGs in my life that I implemented about 6 weeks ago. And so I've been tracking the progress on one of these goals just to see the difference it makes. And I can tell you that being able to see your progress and actively track it as you go makes a huge difference. I use kind of a line graph, so I can go see whether my line is going up each week or staying the same or going down, and it's a good motivational technique to use. So in my organization, I work from home, so I don't have daily meetings or daily face-to-face contact with any of my coworkers, but we do have usually 3 to 4 statewide conference calls each week. We'll either have them with just leadership for our region or with the entire state involved. So I used to sit back and just listen through the meetings and take notes if I thought it was important, but really just not have a lot of input. So my wig now is to improve my professional reputation, which to me means get noticed, make sure leadership knows who you are, and over time become a point of contact for leadership. So my lead measures are that during each conference call that we have, I will at least 3 times ask a question, provide input or an idea, along with positive reinforcement towards that individual that I'm addressing. So give some sort of compliment without being overly complimentary, but just kind of in a subtle way. Either reinforce what they're saying or just say, hey, that was a really good idea, just so that I'm putting myself out there. People know my name. I'm getting myself noticed. So my lead measures are in every email, every phone call, every conference call we have is to provide input and an idea or a question and track how many times I do that. And then my thought is that if I continually do that over a 6-week period, leadership is going to start coming to me also with requests or questions. Because I've been at this job far, far longer than our new leadership. So I have a lot of the information. I just haven't made myself notice. So in order to grow within this organization, I have to make myself noticed, which is difficult to do when you work from a home office. So my wig is to improve my professional reputation and get myself noticed. So I've been tracking it over 6 weeks with my line graph, and surprisingly to me, I've had my lines went up every week. I'm able to track it and see it. It's a cool way to do it. And for me professionally, that's one of my most important goals, is to be noticed and to be able to grow. My next wig was, it's a little more difficult when you're doing an individual wig. It's not really a teamwork environment for me, but one of my most important goals for this year was to improve my networking and to really stretch out basically the lines of communication I have with others in the community, and not just in the organization that I work. So I joined a couple boards. I started volunteering and making connections outside of the community, and important ones also that would be good people to call for questions or for leads on possible changes in career in the future. So I've been writing down who I network with at each meeting, who's new. I make it a point to get their phone number, to introduce myself, to ask them a little about themselves, like what they do. Nothing personal, but I've created a much bigger network in the last year than I have in the last 12 years at the job I have right now. So my hugely, wildly important goal for this year is to network and put myself out there and get myself known and help myself in my career growth instead of just waiting for it to come to me. Now I can track this networking in my chart, my spreadsheet I have on my computer that, okay, I added this many in 12 years, but over this past year, I've added 40 new potential networking professionals. So now keep a scoreboard, keep a graph, a chart, whatever is most visually pleasing to you or your organization, and chart your progress. You get to pick whatever you'd like to use, but whatever's visually pleasing and easiest to see that overall progress, use that to track your wigs. I like to use, like I said, I like to use the line chart. It shows whether I'm going up 1 week, down 1 week, not making a lot of progress. It gives myself a clear idea of if I need to work harder, if I'm doing what I need to do. I found that if you track pretty steadily each week, you keep on top of it and you continue to make progress. So this is the rundown, the short rundown of what wigs are, your wildly important goals, and how to be able to track those goals. So thanks for listening.